In a campaign I ran a few years ago, the party had just had a near total party kill, where only one single player had survived, and now he was looking for new allies to help him get revenge against the villain who had murdered his previous party. Originally, I was planning on Jay Scarfeathers, the Tengu swashbuckler, to be stealthily gathering allies and keeping a low profile. However, one of the players had a little bit of a different idea in mind. On the very first night that Jay was at the tavern in the local city, he saw a massive lizard folk enter the room, walk into the center, and destroy a table with his great axe.
I'm looking for help. Who wants to kill a dragon?
This was Barashk, the lizard folk barbarian. A few years ago, his village had been destroyed by a dragon, but after the attack, he had come back to life with one singular goal: revenge. The first person to respond to Barashk's request was Plunk the Sprite Cleric, who immediately flew over and landed on the table's wreckage.
Hey, I love going on adventures, dude. I'm in. You may love adventuring, but how about the thrill of the hunt? Hey, yeah, that's great too, dude.
At this point, Jay went over and introduced himself as well, and the new party had been formed. They immediately went to the bar and bought as many drinks as they could, and also paid for the table that Barashk had destroyed. After another 10 minutes of conversation, the fourth and final party member decided to introduce his character. By this point, you've probably noticed that you're being watched. Jay immediately drew his weapon and went over, ready to fight the potential assassin. So, when are we planning to leave? What? I heard that we're killing a dragon. I'm in. This was Circel the Tiefling Rogue. He'd been sent to the island by a powerful devil in order to collect on a soul debt against one of the nobles. The party introductions were then interrupted because a few familiar faces walked into the tavern. There was Malvira the Bard, Ranthorn the Blood Mage, and a cloaked figure that the party soon learned was named Jack. Apparently, these three had heard that Jay was planning revenge on Silsira and wanted to help him. Jay was given a magical compass that was named A Sense of Justice, and was told that it should take them right to where Silsira had sent her soldiers. Now you might be thinking, hey, wait a second. Last time that the party had seen Malvira and Ranthorn, they had all gotten into a massive fight with each other. Why would Malvira want to help out the party after that? And that would be a great question. And in fact, Jay had the exact same question running through his head. So after their conversation, Jay quietly followed Malvira's party for a few minutes through the streets, hoping to pick up any information on why they'd suddenly decided to help him. He was only able to pick up a small bit of their conversation. And this should distract Silsira's men. After all, why would she keep guards at some old abandoned metal door in the middle of nowhere, while Jay and his group of mercenaries are attacking her main goal? After hearing that, Jay returned to his new adventuring party and they made plans. Barashk wasn't very happy about delaying the dragon hunt, but decided that whatever this was seemed like it had more time pressure, so he agreed. The party began their journey, following the compass into the mountain range near the center of the island. They climbed up the treacherous heights and soon found a small path running between the peaks. And after a few hours of following this route, they found a small group of people on the other side of the rope bridge. As they got closer, Jay recognized them. It was Barumo and his two allies. It was the people who had killed his old party. However, before Jay could say anything, Circel walked up and spoke. Barumo, your soul has been claimed by Zariel of Avernus. Do you have any last words before you're removed from this mortal plane and sent screaming down into the depths of the nine hells? What? Jay, how do you keep finding these people? Like, I thought that Edith was a little bit crazy, but this guy seems to take the cake. I see no cake in the vicinity. However, condemning you to eternal torment will certainly be a treat. See, look, he's trying way too hard to be scary. Boss, hate to interrupt, but, shouldn't we be killing them now? Yes, I was getting to that. Jay, you really should have just stayed in hiding, but I guess if you're here, then I finally get to finish the job I started back at Redwater. Are you ready to meet your old party? A chaotic fight broke out, but this wasn't like last time. Instead of a firing squad against a party that was already on the verge of death, this was a group of normal guards fighting a party of adventurers who had max health and full spell slots. It was a massacre, the party almost immediately wiping out Barumo and his 2 soldiers. However, as Barumo was on the ground bleeding to death, Cercel walked over, drew a Hellstone dagger, and plunged it deep into Barumo's torso. This meant that instead of dying normally, Barumo's soul was immediately ripped out of his body and sent to the 9 hells. Now that the fight was over, the party quickly looted Barumo's body, but in addition to taking all of their items back, Jay also cut the Eye of Tarjan out of Barumo's skull and equipped it himself. Then they began moving once more, following the compass through the mountain paths until eventually they found a massive mansion, resting on the edge of a cliff. Or at least Jay found it, because he was the only person who was able to see this mansion. Luckily, he was able to pull the other party members through the magical barrier with him, and then they all stood in a large courtyard. Standing tall in front of the mansion was an ornate Corzantium statue of a halfling in a cloak. There was a crown atop the statue's head, and in one of its hands was a dagger. This was Merlos' mansion, the last dwelling of the legendary thief lord who went missing hundreds of years ago. The party started to move towards the doors to enter, but the statue suddenly turned towards them. "State your business." Yeah, hi, we're from the local terrifying invisible cliff mansion insurance office." "Oh, are you?" "Yep, that's us. We're just here to make sure everything's up to code so that we can lower the owner's insurance rates for the upcoming year." "Very well. Good luck in your inspection, and if you have any questions, I'll be remaining in a stationary location, awaiting any further contact." The party quickly moved along, and walked through the large oak door into the mansion itself, where they saw an expansive foyer with an eerie golden statue of a knight looming over them from the balcony above. They delved through the dungeon, fighting a handful of clockwork creatures that seemed to be guarding the place, and as they fought their way through the rooms, they learned a few different things. First, they learned that Merlos the Thief Lord was not the person who had built this mansion, and it was actually built by a man named Alinar, hundreds of years before Merlos arrived on the island. Second, this Alinar guy had discovered a mysterious metal known as Eldrite, which also was sometimes a crystal, but that's a long story. And lastly, the party learned that Merlos was buried deep beneath the mansion, in a secret room. Soon the party was in a dark, stone hallway, far below the entrance to the mansion, and after killing some more clockwork guards, they entered Merlos' tomb. It was a surprisingly small, cramped room, and resting in the center was a large stone coffin. Jay stepped forward and pushed the lid off of the coffin, revealing the dead body of Merlos the Thief Lord. Resting on top of the body, clasped in his hands, was a magic battle axe made of eldritch obsidian, which the party immediately recognized as the legendary item known as Justice. More exciting than that was the silver crown atop the Thief Lord's head. However, while Jay was looting the coffin, the rest of the party noticed something else in the room. A large, dark purple crystal embedded in the north wall. However, it looked broken, like there were small chunks of it missing. 4 small chunks to be exact. This was very, very bad, because among the things that the party had taken from Barumo earlier in the episode was a small, dark purple crystal that Edith had on her when she had died. One of the 4 that her patron had asked her to gather and bring here. The small shard suddenly flew out of Jay's bag and directly into the rest of the crystal, connecting to it. And even though the larger crystal was still damaged, it had been fixed enough. A large gateway began to rip itself into existence, a portal to another realm. On the other side of this gateway, the party saw a massive, craggy expanse of land, and in the sky above there was an endless sea of storm clouds, striking dark purple lightning down into the crater-marked landscape. However, that wasn't the most notable part of what they saw. No, what immediately caught their eye was the enormous crowd of soldiers standing in marching order on the other side, waiting. there was a loud voice that echoed out of the portal. "Stride forth into Venzor once more. Take no survivors. Reclaim what is mine." Luckily, the portal was small. Only a handful of soldiers could fit through at a time, and the first two that walked through were immediately recognized by the players, but not by their characters. One of them was made of light green ooze, and from under the cloak that the figure was wearing, they could see that there were two bright purple crystals where the person's eyes should be. More worrying, however, was that in his hand was a light blue short sword, and there were snowflakes circling around it. Next to him was a chubby half-orc, and one of his arms had been entirely replaced with purple crystalline tentacles, and in the other arm he wielded a magic flaming longsword. This was Guppy and Imch from the Dragonfangs campaign. These were the players' old characters, who had traveled to the island a long, long time ago. But now they'd been corrupted, and turned into the generals of Alinar's army of Eldrite soldiers. The party turned and fled as the rest of the army began to advance through the portal into Venzor. Basically, end of the world. However, that's gonna have to wait until next episode, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that when it gets uploaded. And if you're interested in what happened leading up to this episode, then I'll put a link in the doobly-doo to the entire playlist. Either way, I'll see you in the next video.